the chosen one. This message did not find you by chance. It was divinely arranged. God has brought you here for a purpose. You have been looking, applying, grinding, and waiting. But something seems odd in your soul. That is because what you have been attempting to push in the natural no longer corresponds with what God is birthing in the spiritual. This is not just a word. It's a diversion, a precious command from the Most High. Stop searching for jobs. Try this instead. This may contradict everything you've been taught, but stick with the message, because your spirit will gain clarity throughout the following several chapters. Your mind will break free of its cycles, and the new season will begin, not with work, but with proper alignment. Before we delve in, please like, share, and subscribe, because this message is more than simply material. It's a heavenly affirmation intended exclusively for the chosen ones and those who have been investing in this place via super. Thanks. Thank you. May God bless you. Fold in your support, presence, and obedience to the call. Do not go undetected. You're not just viewing a video. You are part of a kingdom movement. If this word connects with your soul, type it in the comments right now. That number is not random. It's a prophetic signal to heaven and the universe that you're aligned, awakened, and ready to quit pursuing what's not working and completely embrace what's already yours via divine teaching. Not everyone will make it to the finish, but those who do are the genuinely selected, the ones ready to transition from grinding to flowing, from work to assignment, from looking to finding meaning. This isn't something you hear and then forget about. This is a dynamic message, a heavenly blueprint that exposes more each time you visit. Watch it again anytime your spirit beckons you back, for each time, a deeper layer of kingdom plan emerges. Your next level. It isn't simply waiting. It is already written. Today, it starts with obedience. Let's dig in. Chapter 1. God is moving you from your current job to your chosen mission. If you've been feeling the strain recently, with closed doors, the dearth of callbacks, and possibilities that go as fast as they arise, don't confuse this for rejection. It's a redirection. You are not being neglected by man. God is realigning you, since you are not placed here just to work for man. You were brought here to serve the kingdom. You see, God is transitioning you from work to assignment, from relying on human systems to following heaven's plan. And this is the reality. That job that once provided stability now seems suffocating. That habit, which once seemed steady, now seems stale. That is not burnout. Your spirit is outgrowing the season. You were never supposed to remain within. You were never supposed to clock in and out of a life without significance. You were born with a divine mandate that is not limited by job titles, bosses, or corporate ladders. Your spirit is too pricey for little places. Your calling is too serious for superficial positions. That's why the unrest has been increasing. That is why the enthusiasm you once felt for some things has vanished. Because heaven says it's time. You are being called to a greater mission, not to hustle more, but to listen more. Not to work harder, but to submit deeper. God is not interested in you pursuing money for the next 10 years while losing your mantle. He is interested in you fulfilling your destiny, created and allocated for, even if it means walking into the previous model taught you how to survive, but the kingdom teaches you how to construct. God isn't inviting you to rely on systems. He is calling you to develop systems. He is not calling you to settle for work. He is asking you to continue his legacy. Yes, you could still require supply. Yes, you may still be in transition. However, this halt in your job does not constitute a delay. This is heavenly placing. He's dragging you away from what's fleeting, so he can direct you towards what is everlasting. He is breaking the pattern of merely living paycheck to paycheck, allowing you to finally walk into your prophetic divine destiny. It does not always make sense at first. People may question you. Fear may whisper, what happens if it doesn't work? But here's the solution. It is not intended to function in the same manner that the rest of the world does. It is meant to function in God's way. And when you walk with obedience, provision follows purpose. Surrender comes before strategy. Doors open not via application, but through divine activation. So, no, you aren't lazy. You are not confused. You are not behind. You are being set aside. You are being rewired. You are being reminded. You were not created only to labor. You were created to fulfill a heavenly mission that alters atmospheres and breaks generational curses. You are not jobless. Heaven already has you on its payroll. You are not unemployed. Your kingdom has been deployed. This is the shift. This is the moment. Do not miss it. Trying to return to what God has already terminated because of where He is bringing you. Employment will not define your identity. Will. Chapter 2. Your contribution serves as your source of income. Stop using it. The selected one. The world has conditioned you to pursue jobs, promotions, and money. But God has been trying to show you. Your provision is not outside of you. It is inside. You've been praying for doors to open, resources to arise, for breakthroughs to occur. But heaven is whispering, I've already given you the key. Your talent is more than simply something you are skilled at. It is something you are blessed with. That power to breathe life into others. That way, you may find beauty in shattered objects. That talent with your hands, thoughts, imagination, and compassion. That is not a coincidence. That is money in the monarchy. Gifts produce provision. You keep looking for work, but God continues directing you within. You don't need additional degree, another employer, or another interview to be confirmed. What you need is activation. Activation of the gift that had been buried in uncertainty, comparison, fear, and survival. The world may have prepared you to be a worker, but God has called you to be a solution. And your donation is the answer to someone's prayers right now. That present contains oil. It brings healing. It conveys riches. When you eventually stop disregarding it and begin utilizing it, doors will open. But no one can close. Let's be precise. That voice you've been concealing might give birth to a platform in this manner. Writing, teaching, or encouraging might spark a movement. That creative spark, business concept, or service you keep putting off. It might nourish generations with a desire to assist. That eye for detail, the capacity to arrange, decorate, and mend. It is all wonderful. You do not need a work title to validate what God has already authorized. You continue to seek God to bless you financially. And He is saying, use what I gave you. The wonder lies in your movement. The supply serves your objective. The money is not in the chase. It's about unleashing what's already in your possession. Remember how God questioned Moses, what's in your hand? That wasn't just a query. It was a blueprint. Your talent is your staff, and your voice is your oil. Obedience is your plan. And as you start using it, you'll see supernatural alignment. Picked one. This is the time to stop shrinking and begin stewardship. Begin small. If you have to, start afraid. If you must. But start posting that video. Launch the product. Write the book. Offer that service. Open your mouth. Please share your insights. Use your talent as if it were the only thing you had. Because in reality, it's all you need. You will not need to force it. When you are operating in your anointing, you will not need to beg for attention. Favor connects you with the appropriate people. Platforms and provision will appear not because you seek them, but because you have awakened what was dormant. This isn't just about money. This is about impact. And when impact takes precedence, income always follows. So there is obviously one stop available for rental. You've already received the call. Now it's time to be creative. Chapter 3, Obedience is the new currency selected. The world has taught you that money comes from hard effort. That increases when you work more hours. The more revenue you get. But that isn't how paradise works. In the kingdom, money is earned via obedience. Resources aren't limited to labor. They're obligated to listen. This explains why your soul has been restless. Why have some chances dried up? Why does the work that once supported you suddenly seem like a bondage? Because you've been begging God for money. But He's asking for your obedience. He's not reviewing your resume. He is checking your answer. Not, are you qualified, but are you aligned? Precision is key to provisioning throughout this season. The issue is no more what job should I apply for, but rather what was the last thing God instructed me to do. And have I finished it? He murmured something to your soul. The company concept, the digital product, the coaching service, the ministry, and the message you're intended to share. That was not a random notion. That was an instruction. And your breakthrough is contained inside it. You continue to pray for open doors. But God is saying you haven't gone through the previous one I gave you, so choose one. This is quite profound. Heaven reacts to movement. No skill, no hustle, no emotion, just obedience. That single act of obedience may alter your whole financial trajectory. One yes can result in new sources of wealth, divine alliances, unexpected favors, and supernatural access. And this is the reality. Most would not inform you that delayed compliance is still disobedience. When God offers you a nudge, a whisper, or a spiritual command, your timing is crucial. It is not about hurrying. It is about reacting. Because in the next chapter, those who comply fast will get admission soon. Allow this thought to settle in, which you are constantly dismissing. That might be the precise thing that supports your family for decades. That class you were supposed to teach. That post you were prompted to share. That phone call you were urged to make the oil is part of obedience. Obedience does not always make sense. It will not always be rational. It may not even seem lucrative at first. But when God commands, move, move. Because what seems modest in your hands might be tremendous in His plans. You don't need to have everything sorted out. You do not need a complete plan. You just need to take the next loyal step. God provides opportunities for vision, not hesitation. So if you're waiting for the money to arrive before moving, you've got it wrong. The movement triggers the miracle. Here's the finest part. You do not need to be flawless. You do not need to know every step. God isn't anticipating lawlessness. He anticipates fidelity. He is not asking for performance. He's asking for involvement. So stop and ask yourself, what has God already told me to do? So what am I waiting for? Because in this season, obedience has become the new money. Those who obey will never want. Chapter 4. This is about trust, not formulae. The chosen one. Let's get genuine. The formula they provided you was never fully appropriate. You go to school, get a degree, find a solid career, advance through the ranks, retire, and hope was all worthwhile. But you've always believed that this couldn't be it. You always have, since there was more. Because there is. That formula is effective for people called to the global system. However, you were not born to obey the system. You were born to change it. You aren't merely an employee. You are an instrument. A vessel, a creator of something heaven authored. God is transitioning you from predictability to purpose, paychecks to supply, and routine to revelation. And that transition requires something the world cannot teach, faith. This is not about money. This is about alignment. You are not being asked to compute. You are being urged to trust. Trust when you don't see the whole picture. Trust when the statistics do not make sense. Will you trust when you are walking away from? Feel secure enough to enter what is holy. Faith is the economic system of heaven. God does not need you to have it all figured out. He only wants you to follow His lead. He praises movement above comfort zones. He funds obedience rather than overthinking. That's why you feel tense. That's why turning up for that job feels weighty. Why your eyesight won't let you sleep. Why is your soul upset every time you do something that pays the bills but depletes your spirit? You were not designed for a formula. You were designed for a flow, a heavenly flow in which your actions are organized and your days are driven by purpose, where your supply is delivered when you walk in obedience, not if you wait until the appropriate opportunity. Some individuals will not grasp this, and that is okay. This hike is not for everyone. Faith-based life defies rationality. It upsets comfort while activating the miraculous. And the fact that you're reading this indicates that your spirit is already awakened to it. God is urging you to construct something new, not using man's ways but following heaven's instructions. This isn't merely a professional change. It is a kingdom elevation. The only prerequisite is trust. Faith that says, even if I don't know how, I trust who. Faith that says, I may not have the whole plan, but I have a message from God. And that's all. Because this is the truth. If you can explain everything, God probably did not write it. His goals are higher. His methods are distinct. And he's bringing you down a road that contradicts all you've learned. Because what he's creating with you has never been done before. So eliminate the necessity for formulae. Let go of whatever seems reasonable. You don't live by sight anymore. You are living by faith. And in the kingdom, faith is the one coin that never runs out. Chapter 5. Rest is a plan this season. The chosen one. You've been conditioned to associate movement with progress. To believe that if you aren't doing something, you're losing out or falling behind. However, some of God's most powerful actions begin in periods of silence. In this season, relaxation is not an escape from purpose. It serves the function since rest is where you will obtain the following lesson. Rest is when you restore spiritual sight. Rest is where heaven says what bustle would have drowned out. You've been moving, but not always in harmony. Working, but not necessarily on intention. Producing. However, pressure may occasionally be the cause, not peace. And in His kindness, God is inviting you to a divine reset, not to slow you down, but to speed up your understanding. To improve your judgment and remind you that your worth is not in what you accomplish, but in who you are. God is removing the idol of performance from your heart. He is detoxifying you from grind culture and reintroducing you to grace because you are not meant to live fatigued. You were made to live as anointed. Look at how Jesus moved. He did not hurry. He was not in a rush to prove anything. He moved in harmony with the heavens. He fled often, prayed frequently, and slept even while the storm raged. That was not irresponsibility. That was authority. God wants to show you the value of strategic quiet. The silent streams best reflect paradise. Because peaceful places are often where divine strategy downloads. In this season, you're not only learning to unwind from work. You are learning to work from rest. You are learning how to be rooted before being disclosed. Learn how to pause before pouring and listen before leading. Some doors have been purposefully delayed so that you don't walk in exhausted. Some individuals were eliminated so that your tranquility might be restored. Some chances did not call you back because God requires your whole attention. Rest does not imply spiritual sloth. It is spiritual warfare. Because when you relax, you are saying, God, I trust you more than I trust my own efforts. You're expressing, I think your provision is greater than my pressure. Rest is when God unveils fresh plans, which you couldn't hear while you were busy surviving. Rest is when your anointing is replenished. Intimacy, rather than effort. Rest is the state in which worry is replaced by certainty and confusion is exchanged for clarity. In rest, your identity is reaffirmed, not as a worker, but as a son, daughter, and royalty. This is when you realize that your Father is the source, not the work, the hustle, or the next chance. So breathe, the chosen one. Let go of the worry that you have to make everything happen. Heaven is working behind the scenes while you recline in front of Him. And when the time comes, there will be no need to knock on the door. When the door opens, you'll find yourself already prepared. Rest is your best defense during this season. The rest is your strategy. Rest is a prophetic posture of power. And when you accept that rest, you will not fall behind. You will be launched ahead. Chapter 6. You are being called to create, not compete. The chosen one. The door that God is opening for you does not yet exist because you are not supposed to find it. You are destined to construct it. That's why you felt out of place in traditional settings. Why? Every job feels like it depletes your soul. Why every system seems too small for your spirit. It isn't because you are unqualified. It's because you're too qualified for the boxes the world keeps trying to force you into. God did not call you to fit in. He challenged you to innovate, disrupt, and pioneer. You were not sent here to compete in a crowded room. You were assigned to create a room that does not yet exist. Your oil does not flow when you imitate others. It flows when you act in genuine obedience. The anointing on your life was not meant to be compared. It was created to defy conventions and set new norms. That is why your previous industry seems depleted. That's why your regular circle doesn't get your thoughts. That is why what formerly worked no longer produces results. Because heaven is adjusting your strategy, and you are being conscripted into creation rather than competition. That image you keep seeing while praying. That business concept that will not let you sleep. That plan that makes no sense to the outside world yet gives you complete peace of mind. That is not fantasy. That is divine teaching. You are not imagining it. You are recalling it from your soul to your intellect. It's already inscribed into your faith. And now it is time to make it a reality. When you begin creating, you will notice something significant. The appropriate individuals will find you. The resources will align. The doors will open without effort. Because God finances what He provides. You do not need to hustle for every chance. You don't need to beg for platforms. You only need to follow the download instructions for the clients, income, and effect. They will all follow the Creator. You are meant to create something that not only provides for yourself, but also changes others. Something that goes beyond just generating income. It spawned a legacy. Stop comparing yourself to what already exists. Stop attempting to fit your God-sized vision into man-made models. What you carry has never been done this way before. This is why it seems lonely. That's why it seems hazardous. However, keep in mind that Noah did not need confirmation from the audience. He received a blueprint from God, the chosen one. This is your Genesis season. Your season for starting from fresh, but not from nothing. Because when heaven issues the order, earth must comply. You're not insane for having such lofty dreams. You're a prophet. You are strategic. You've been sent. You aren't here to compete. You came here to make something everlasting. And your creations will outlast you. Because it came from heaven, not from hype. Chapter 7. This is not a job hunt. This is a destined launch. Let's pull everything together. The chosen one. God did not send you here to update job listings and pursue titles that are no longer relevant. He didn't let old items go apart merely to make you look for replacements. He accepted the disturbance since it was the only way to get your attention. He wanted to show you that this is no longer about work. It's all about alignment. It's about divine timing. It's about following the pattern that was created for you before you were born. You were never simply born to work. You were born to construct. You were destined to fulfill a heavenly mission that no job description could completely encompass. You have outgrown the earthly system as heaven's system activates in you. The hunger you feel is not for money, but for purpose. The restlessness you're experiencing is not caused by unemployment. The inner cry of your destiny is starting to stir. You haven't been delayed. You are being launched. Sometimes launches seem like silence. Sometimes it seems like doors are shutting, calls are not being returned, and possibilities are drying up. But in truth, paradise is creating place for something bigger than you thought you needed. You believed you were being forgotten, but you were really being concealed, safeguarded, and placed aside for something greater than a job or a salary. It's no longer about looking for a job. It's about realizing who you are. You are not unemployed. You're not behind. You're not trapped. You're on heavenly standby. And your next lesson is to interrupt the pattern of striving that the world has attempted to keep you in. You've asked for provision, and God's response follows a pattern. The trend does not appear in the employment market. It is in the kingdom. In the kingdom. Your revenue comes from obedience in the kingdom. Doors open when you walk in trust in the kingdom. You do not pursue Favre. Favre finds you because you are in line with God's will. It's time to change your thinking. It's time to stop wondering, what job should I apply for? And begin to wonder, what did God last tell me to do? And have I finished it? Because God is not bestowing material goods at this time. He's assigning a purpose. He is raising leaders, creators, healers, builders, and visionaries who will recognize their calling without the need for system confirmation. This is the time when your gift becomes your doorway. Your testimony becomes a tool. Your narrative will become your power. The exact things you believe disqualified you are now proof of your anointing and the individuals you're meant to reach. They won't be impressed with your resume. They'll be moved by your submission. Now is not the time to panic. This is the moment to position yourself to sit quiet long enough to hear heaven speak, to open your hands and say, God, I surrender my plans for your purposes. Because the call on your life is serious, and God will not allow you bury it beneath activity and exhaustion. You weren't designed to make a livelihood. You were intended to walk with purpose, and that purpose is not out there. It's right here in your obedience, faith, and readiness to say yes, even when you're not sure how it will all work out. When you walk, you will be met by provisions. Destiny will open as you comply, and the next chapter of your life will not start with a hire. It'll start with a sacred instruction. So today, put the job hunt aside. Put down the worry. Lay aside your fear. Apply the pressure to figure it all out. Instead, embrace the peaceful assurance that comes with knowing heaven is on your side. You are not just abandoning a professional route. You are embarking on a journey to the kingdom. You aren't beginning afresh. You've started. True. This is not a backup plan. This is a forward step. You're not late. You are exactly on schedule for what God is going to deliver through you. This isn't a job hunt. This is a launch, a leap into purpose, a foray into legacy, a jump start into the life you were designed for. And it all starts the minute you decide to stop pursuing the world and start trusting God. Your launch has already been approved. The only thing left to do is move.